All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin. All right, welcome back to the other side of the coin, ladies and gentlemen. I really didn't want to do this probably yesterday sometime. I was sort of thinking my last video kind of covered all of this, but then late yesterday UK time, more news sort of started to drop in regards to this particular situation, the so-called relationship that we have with Saudi Arabia. And I thought, do you know what? I think this will be best served doing it as a live stream, so I get to interact with you guys as well and see what you guys have to think about this. And I can finally just let it all out, let it all loose, get it all out of my chest about this particular news. I know there's a whole heap of transfer news that's buzzing. I understand that, but we'll keep that for another moment. We may even do another video or another live in a couple hours time, because I know there's a lot of transfer news that's buzzing in regards to Kai Havertz, in regards to Gabriel Veiga. But sometimes we need to put all of that aside and defend Chelsea for what it is. You've got people like Roaring Jennings. I don't know if you guys have seen his video. He's literally calling Chelsea cheats. He's actually going out there and claiming that Chelsea are cheating. This is a Chelsea fan. And if you've seen that video, I watched that video. He's made some wild remarks and he's made some wild comments in that particular video that has zero basis. Absolute zero basis or zero facts. He's basically just seen, okay, we've got all of these players that are not worked out for us. We probably shouldn't have been able to sell any of this. And if we do get to sell them, we shouldn't be able to make any money out of them. And here come Saudis, they're coming in, and apparently Saudis have, some sort of investment with Clearlake Capital. Clearlake Capital owns 60% of it. And he somewhat put all of this together by saying, oh, this is so convenient, isn't it? He's absolutely made 0 sense in that particular video. He's absolutely made 0 sense if you've seen it. And then on the contrary, if you then saw Lee Gunner's video in his second channel, Lee Reacts, you've got an Arsenal fan that's actually protecting Chelsea Football Club. You've got a Chelsea fan that is claiming Chelsea's cheating. And you've got an Arsenal fan that's actually saying, Chelsea's done nothing wrong here. Chelsea's absolutely done nothing wrong here. And this is what I want to elaborate today. I feel like I needed to do this. And I know each and every one of you guys are probably more interested about transfer news and whatnot. But just for a second, let's park that, because we truly need to talk about this whole Saudi relationship, strategic alliance, whatever you might want to call it. We really need to discuss this, right? We really need to discuss this. Over 122 people live already, actually over 140 people live already. Smash the like button and just keep bringing your comments. I will pick up as many as I can while I go through this particular explosive rant, as I've got it in the title. And we'll have a look at the news in regards to this. In fact, let's have a look at the news first, and then I'll give you guys my whole spiel on this particular matter. Breaking, this happened late last night, UK time. European rivals of Chelsea and Wolves are calling for fair market investigations into Saudi Arabia's dramatic haul of big money signings. One top club says teams are using the Saudi Pro League as a get out of FFP jail free card. This is coming from Telefootball. Further goes on to say Chelsea sources claim interest in their players is purely transactional and down to the club's popularity in the Middle East. The club denies that PIF has any existing financial interest in the club, despite reports that Clearlake, which owns about 60% of Chelsea, has prior minority investment from PIF. So quite a lot that's going here. They want us to be investigated. They're a bit annoyed why our Saudis come in here and throwing their big money and trying to get all these players, specifically from Chelsea Football Club as well, completely disregarding that they are trying to get players from everywhere else, not just from Chelsea. It's just coincidental that we seem to have quite a lot of our players who have also agreed personal terms. No one's put a gun on their head to go to Saudi Arabia. These players are actually agreeing personal terms. And we've not even seen any of the transfer figures as yet, how much we're going to get. All we've seen so far was in regards to Koulibaly, that we're probably going to get about 25 million pounds, 25 to 30, I think 25 to 30 million euros or something like that. Nothing exorbitant. Nothing in the vicinity of what Ruben Neves is fetching for Wolves, which is 55 million. And you have to understand, Koulibaly also has 3 years left in his contract. So, if anything, the Saudi group, the PIF group investment fund, is probably just paying the face value, the book value of Koulibaly. So, nothing outrageous that's happening here. So, look, further goes on to say, sources close to Chelsea maintain PIF has zero financial interest or any other interest in Chelsea, and that had been thoroughly vetted at the time of acquisition. So, okay, there's a lot going on here. Let's try and go from the top, right? Chelsea ownership. In layman's term, it's broken down into 60% for Clearlake Capital, and the other 40% is Top Bowley and remaining few partners, Hans-Jörg Wyss and a few other people, right? Clearlake Capital, 60%. This is what all the articles on all over the internet is saying, right? And I think that's probably right as well. Approximately 60% is owned by Clearlake Capital. Clearlake Capital has about 70 billion in managed assets in management. They've got 70 billion. And what Clearlake Capital they do is basically, let me just bring this up. I was just reading up about what they actually do, right? Clearlake Capital is an investment firm operating integrated businesses across private equity, credit, and other related strategies. With sector-focused approach, the firm seeks to partner with experienced management teams by providing patient, long-term capital to dynamic businesses that can benefit from Clearlake's operational improvement approach. The firm's core target sectors are technology, industrials, and consumer. Clearlake currently has over 70 billion assets under management, and their senior investment principals had led over 400 investments. The firm's headquarter, blah, 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 blah. So basically what they do is they somewhat provide, I think, credit as far as I'm concerned, all the investments that they have. An investment firm operating integrated businesses across private equity, credit, and other related strategies. So look, bottom line, they're involved, their wealth, the 70 billion in management is spread across many, many different companies. Many, as said in their website, around 400. And there are other reports as well. Not a single one of these investors can own more than 5%. So let's say Saudi PIF Group does have investment, and none of this has been absolutely clarified anywhere, right? At the moment, they are saying that the Saudi PIF Group has got some sort of investment. Many articles out there are actually claiming that they've got a majority stakeholder with Clearlake Capital, which is incorrect. Clearlake Capital's investment model, the setup that they have, they don't have any of their investors more than 5% of their total assets in management. So even if Saudi Arabian Group was an investor, they don't own more than 5%. What's 5% going to do? We would have seen, as Chelsea fans, we would have seen if there was something sinister going on. We would have seen it from the get-go that, something just doesn't add up here. What's happening? People are worried about, where did Chelsea get all of these 600 million over the last 2 transfer windows? Well, if we all remember, Roman made it categorically evident and made it categorically out there for the new owners that you have to put aside some money when you do purchase Chelsea Football Club. You must put aside close to, I think, 1 billion or something around 1 billion to invest over the next, so many years on Chelsea Football Club, on top of what you're already paying for the football club the fee that you're paying, which was something around 4.2 billion, right? In total. And on top of that, you have to put aside some money, which is going to be for the investment of the club. So all of that money that we've spent, the 600 million over the last two transfer windows, it's money that was put aside by Clearlake. And the Saudi investors, when the new owners bought Chelsea Football Club, they weren't there at that time anyway. And all of this were vetted. Premier League vetted all of this from the get-go because they would have to know where the source of the income is coming from. You can't just bring in any owners. You have to do a complete check on these owners to find the source of the wealth. And they had no issues with it. Absolutely no issues with it. And then down the track, okay, now maybe the PIF group has a 5% stake on Clearlake, but they can't be driving our football club. You cannot. Saudi club, the Saudi group would also know that them owning Newcastle, you cannot own another club in the same league. All of this that we have right now is honestly purely coincidental. It just happens to be that Saudi Arabian league is now looking to explode. They're looking to pump a lot of money and they're looking to grow their league. And the best way to grow the league is you've got to bring superstars to your league. You've got to put enough eyes on the league by bringing superstars. And the only way they can do that is they've got to throw the money. They're looking to put a bid for the 2030 World Cup in Saudi Arabia. This is why they want all eyes on themselves now. They have all the money. They've got unlimited amount of money. But not for once does Chelsea have any sort of strategic alliance with Saudi Arabia, or Chelsea are funded by Saudi Arabia. 5% stake. Clearlake Capital do not allow anyone else to have more than 5% stake in their investment. They've got 70 billion in assets in management. 5% of that. And they've got 60% hold on Chelsea. The other 40% is held by Todd Bowley and everyone else. Do you think the Saudi PIF group, they can just willy-nilly come in and Chelsea and just run the show? They can't do that. They really cannot do that. Rivals are just upset that our owners just have some really, really good contacts. They're really good businessmen. They're upset that these guys know a lot of people. No one's stopping other football clubs to do business with Saudi Arabia. In fact, Saudi Arabia is now after Son from Spurs. No one's stopping them. Spurs can negotiate with Saudi Arabia, the PIF group that owns 4 of the football clubs in Saudi Pro League. They're also targeting players from Ligue 1 from France. This is just mad, absolutely mad. Arsenal fans are the ones that are jumping up and down so much about this. And I don't understand what seems to be the problem here. I really don't understand what seems to be the problem. Are they really thinking that we're funded by PIF, by the Saudi group? This has all been vetted. This has all been vetted. All of these players that are leaving Chelsea Football Club, one, they don't want to stick around at Chelsea, and two, no one's put a gun on their head to go to Saudi Arabia. They're all accepted personal terms with the Saudi Pro League. with the PIF group because it suits their lifestyle. They're going to make a lot of money. Someone saying it's money laundering. How is it money laundering, my man? How is it? And who's doing money laundering? Who's doing money laundering? How is it money laundering and who's doing money laundering? Because it's the Saudis that's pumping out the money. Saudis are going out there and buying players over the top of market value because they know that's the only way they can do that. Saudi Pro League cannot compete with European clubs. They know that. In order to grow your league, you're going to have to pump the money. You're going to have to pay overs. Do you think players will be going to Saudi Arabia, or do you think clubs will be dealing with Saudi Arabia if they weren't throwing this level of money? No. Wolves probably wouldn't sell Ruben Neves to them if they weren't getting 55 million. It's as simple as that. Saudi Arabia know in order to build their league, they're going to have to throw the money. Now, if you're saying that they're money laundering, well, go and talk to where PIF's source of income's coming from. Don't blame other clubs for accepting an offer. Go and ask Saudis, where's your money coming from? All of these fans, rivals, rival pundits or wherever, whoever else, they want to investigate us. What happened to the investigation when we were wrongly sanctioned? What happened to making an investigation then? Were Chelsea involved in the Russia-Ukraine war? Chelsea in itself is a different entity. Were Chelsea involved in that war? Did we create that war? Why did we get punished? Why wasn't there any investigations done then? If there was sanctions on key Russian personnels, for instance, our previous owner, Roman, then the matter should have been dealt with Roman, not with Chelsea Football Club being sanctioned to do any sort of business. Where was the investigation then? Everything that we seem to do seems to be scrutinized. United fans, they've got an issue with all of this as well. And the funny thing is, they are desperately wanting Qataris to come and own their football club, state owned. Then there's no issues. Then there's no problems. The way this is happening at the moment is Todd Bowley and Baghdad Iqbali. They're very, very smart business people. They have a lot to learn about football, 100%, but they're very, very smart business people. They've got contacts with a lot of investors out there. And they so happen to have contacts with the PIF group. And at the same time, Saudis fancy some of our players, just like they fancy many other players. They're looking to pump 20 billion in their league to grow that league and give it a global presence, because they are vying for the World Cup bid for 2030. Don't come around trying to beat up the drums on Chelsea Football Club. We've done absolutely nothing wrong here. Absolutely nothing wrong here. There are times when maybe we're on the wrong, and that's when the real fans will come and say it out. And then there are times where we've done absolutely nothing wrong here. The money is 100%, the money generated by Chelsea, or the money invested on Chelsea is 100% not coming from Saudi Arabia. And the players that we're now sending over there is purely transactional and to a certain degree coincidental as well. And then you've got people coming out saying, oh, we are cheats. Honestly, I wonder where, for instance, Arsenal Football Club's owner, I wonder if you check up, and this is what I've said a long time ago, if you check up all of these owners and their backgrounds and what companies they belong in and what investments they have in their company, do you think they're all clean? Do you think they're all clean? I'm pretty certain if you dug deep on the Kroenkes, you'll find several different investments coming from questionable entities. Similarly for the Glazers in Man United, similarly for 100% Man City, similarly for Liverpool, all of these owners, you don't become billion dollars owners and dealing with this level of money by doing clean business. UK government seem to have problems with, key Russian personnels. Find out if Kroenkes, if they have any Russian investments, any sort of part of it, or from any other questionable sources. It's mad. It's absolutely mad. Whenever we seem to, what they're getting upset about is we're able to offload our players, seems like, seamlessly to Saudi Arabia. No one's stopping anyone else. For example, Arsenal want to get rid of Thomas Partey. Negotiate with Saudis. I'm sure Thomas Partey would like to go to Saudi. Man United want to get rid of some of their deadwood. Negotiate with the Saudis. As I said, no one's put a gun on any of our players to go to Saudi Arabia. They've literally accepted all of this. And if there was a strategic alliance between Chelsea and Saudi Arabia, why has N'Golo Kante gone out on a free? If there was a strategic alliance, wouldn't N'Golo Kante had signed a contract extension with Chelsea and then be sold to Saudi Arabia? Now that would be questionable. That would be massively questionable if that had happened. Do you think then fans would be sitting here and just, not responding? Of course, then all of us would stand up and say, hey, wait a minute, that's a bit strange. He signed a contract extension with Chelsea, and then days later, now he's off to Saudi Arabia, and we've made a good amount of money through transfer fee. Rory Jennings on his video was going around saying we're gonna make a hell of a lot of money with transfer fees. We've not even seen the transfer fees as yet. As far as I'm concerned, the only transfer fee that we've seen so far was for Koulibaly, and I think that's book value. That's literally book value. 4-year contract. I think we paid about £32 million or something like that for him. 1 year down, 3 years left. And Saudi Arabia is looking to pay somewhere around 25 million. That's literally book value. Had it been, honestly, I actually thought for Koulibaly, we're probably going to get about 50, 60 million because I compared that with Ruben Neves. Ruben Neves getting 55 million for his transfer fee. Wolves is getting that. I thought Koulibaly would get that. If Koulibaly's transfer fee was something around that region, then I could be saying, wait a minute, what's going on here? Do we actually have a strategic alliance then, maybe? But that's not been the case. That's literally not been the case. They're just upset that our owners, as I've said, from a footballing stand view, they've got a lot to learn. But our owners, they've got a savvy brain, man. They think outside the box, and this is how they become successful. You don't become billionaires with no brain. Our owners came in and they saw the first loophole that, wait a minute, why not give out long-term contracts so we can take advantage of amortization, spread our expenses out, and we beat financial fair play. We buy a player for 100 million, we give him a 8, 9, 10 years contract, and we can break down that 100 million over the span of the contract. Whereas all the other clubs and us as well, previously, we were just dealing with 5-year contracts. They've come in and they saw that there was a loophole. There's no rules and regulations around it. And we took advantage of it. Okay, now they've put some rules that we cannot amortize more than 5 years. All right, no problems. Now we won't do this. Now if we did this, it'll be illegal. Everything that we've done so far with Saudi, none of it is illegal. PIF group from Saudi Arabia wanting to invest on Clearlake, they've got every right to invest. They've got every single right. Let me give you guys a final sort of explanation, right, before we wrap things up. Valan, thank you so much for the super chat. Arsenal paid 72 million for Pepe and it was fishy. No, absolutely. Once I make this final example, I'll then take up some of your comments from the live chat. Smash the like button, guys. Get those likes up. Absolutely get those likes up. And if you're here for the first time, subscribe. Let me give you guys a really good example, a real life example that's happened to my, where I work, my organization, right? My company that I work for is funded by one of the banks, one of the top 4 banks here in Australia. Okay. And my company is a financial company as well. So we're in the dealings of handing out loans and all sorts of lending facilities, much like those banks out there, the top 4 banks. And one of the top 4 banks has a lot of investments in our company. So what does that mean? Does that mean that, we as a separate entity are also competing with that bank that has funded us? It's similar case. The bank that's funded us, I think, funds us about 60% of it. The other 40% is coming from many other different investors. But we have our own policies. We have our own way of running our company. They just get a return because they're just investors. But they don't have any say as to how we run the show here. We give them a promise that this is the return you're going to get. It's up to you if you want to invest or not. That doesn't mean that they have board rights in our company or they have rights as to how our company should be running. No. Similarly here, if PIF looks like they have some sort of investment in Clearlake Capital, and as per all the articles online and the sources are saying that Clearlake Capital don't give out any more than 5% in investment rights. That 5%, what's that going to do? How's Saudi going to have any sort of say in Chelsea Football Club? It's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. It's people these days, you know what the problem is? They see a thing, then they start writing about it. Many people believe it, and people just run with it. And then it becomes even worse when a Chelsea fan like Rory goes out and does a video, and he's got over 200K subscribers, and they all buy into it. They all buy into it. And it's mad. It's absolutely mad. All of this is just plain BS, man. Plain BS. All right, let's see what you guys are saying before we wrap things up. Bolly is digging a hole for himself. I don't think so. I don't think he is in this case. I really don't think he is. UK government love to investigate others to take the limelight from their corruption. Exactly. Exactly. Who's going to look into, FA, the Premier League. Do you think they're not involved in some level of corruption? Look at all the referees in the Premier League. Look at how they're running. Who's going to do any, investigation on them? Look at all the stuff that happens clearly when you can see something on VAR that it should be either a penalty or not a penalty or an offside or not an offside, and it doesn't end up being that. Who's going to talk about all of those corruption? And they're here wanting to see, want to investigate our dealings with Saudi Arabia and also Wolves as well. Wait till Saudis go around splashing money and giving money to Spurs for Son and this, right, the other. Like soon, there's going to be plenty of players that are going to be looking to go to Saudi Arabia. Matt Doherty is going to Saudi Arabia. I'm pretty certain he's still a Spurs player. I think he was on loan to Atletico Madrid. Are they gonna investigate Spurs now? It's crazy, man. It's crazy. They took our owners away thinking we are going to die now. We are bigger than life. They're all crying us. Yeah, no, it's mad. It's mad. My Chelsea having too many players been part of the plan hatched with Saudis last year to try and enable more of the same of the excess Chelsea players to end up playing in Saudi. Look, I don't think the thought process was this intense. It all kicked off with Ronaldo going to Saudi Arabia. Once Ronaldo went to Saudi Arabia and Ronaldo started saying publicly that the Saudi league is going to be a big, big league over the coming years, this is what it started. All of this now, every player is starting to go there. Ruben Neves in his prime is leaving. Now that in itself is a different issue. What's the Premier League? What are the European regulators going to do about when some of the top superstars go for money to Saudi Arabia? It's an open market, man. It's an open market. And on top of that, who controls how much is a player's worth? Who controls that? How can you get someone into trouble because you accept an offer? What are we going to, like, how are we liable if Saudi Arabia Saudi group, PIF group come out and say, oh, we're going to give you X amount of money for a player? Why are we getting trouble for this? Who decides how much a player is worth? Is there rules and regulations around that? How's the market determined? Man United buying players for well over the market value in the likes of Harry Maguire for 80 million, Anthony for 90 million. Who is doing an investigation on those transactions? Were those players worth that money? Now, all of a sudden, there's an issue if Saudi Arabia come with the bags and take our players. Declan Rice to Arsenal, 100 million. Who decided this price tag? Who decided this price tag? Who decides all of this stuff? Is there rules and regulation? Is anyone gonna investigate once Arsenal does that transaction? Is anyone actually going to investigate that? Do we look into American investment regarding dirty and blood money from the Iraq war, from this current proxy war involving the billions going to BlackRock and Vanguard, etc.? Brother, I don't know what you're talking over there. That just went well over my head. That's why this is stupid. Me is West Ham are asking for 100 million for Rice. You don't see that's a crazy, but 25 million has triggered people. Yeah, it's mad. It's mad. And people are actually making articles about this, and it's doing the rounds. It's doing the rounds. Chelsea Empire, thank you so much for the super chat. I unsubscribed Rory channel. Sell out for clicks. All clubs are worried with us and are scared, even though we finished 12th. Party to Arsenal for 60 million. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But yeah, we're going to wrap things up here. We might do another live in a couple of hours' time to do all of the transfer talk. But I just had to come here and protect Chelsea Football Club on this particular situation because there's too many people trying to point fingers when it's not warranted. There are times where you go, yeah, okay, maybe we were in the wrong. But in this case, we're definitely not wrong. Definitely not wrong. Every other club out there can do dealings with the Saudi group, PIF group. No one's stopping you guys from doing that. Saudi Arabia looking to bolster their league by bringing in superstars. And we are luckily enough that players like Ziyech, Koulibaly, Mendy, do you know what I mean? These players, they still hold certain value. They're still very, very good players. N'Golo Kante went on a free. Even more reasons to say that we don't have an alliance. But yeah, we're going to wrap things up. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. Smash the like button. If you're here for the first time, subscribe. And yeah, I shall see you guys very, very soon. Quick Twitter roundup, Miz. We'll do that. We'll do that another video, man. I might come in live maybe in about a couple of hours' time or 3 hours' time. We'll do a live then, and we'll do a wrap up on the transfer news that's happened so far. But yeah, I just need to come here and talk about this BS about us being investigated. And no, it's just totally just complete foolery. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, take care. See ya.